Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk Podcast. It is the aftermath. That is the Senator Phil Perry, and we are in the wake of a 28-23 Patriots win at Tampa Bay. Phil said if they won, there would be movement. There is movement confirmed. Here's Mike Vrabel on the win.
I always love the fight. You know what I mean? That's why I love coaching them, is that they fight and they compete. It's not always perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But I love the way that they compete. You know, you're going to have some time that, if you strike out, you got to go to the dugout and be pissed for a couple seconds, and then you got to go play the rest of the game. So we tell them, take 30 seconds, be pissed, but we got to go play. And it was a long game. It's a tough place to play. It was warm, and they're good.
And not just Mike Vrabel was impressed, but so too was Stefon Diggs, who played a key role yet again in a massive game. He's got 50 catches now for 554 yards, and he had a key onside kick recovery in which he took a lick and survived.
Going into a hostile environment with a good team, I consider them probably they might be the best team in the NFC or one of the best for sure. Going into a hostile environment, things not going well, and rallying. We stuck together. Things were going up and down. We didn't waver. We didn't change our mindset. We just kept pushing. We knew it was going to be one of those games. So just proud of this team, but the most important game is the next one. So enjoy this for what? Can't even go half the day, go 6 hours.
All right, Phil, they're 8-2. Get yourself a mouthful of water, and then tell me, this was a movement game. Which way did it move?
Well, it moved in the right direction. And I think if you are a Patriots fan, you have to be moved emotionally and in a variety of different ways because this team looks like one of the best in the NFL. And so I have said for weeks now, when we talk about contenders, and believe me, listeners, viewers, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this game. But big picture, when you're looking at this league, for me, contenders, there's about 3, maybe 4 of them for a Lombardi trophy at any given point during any given season. The Patriots were not in that contender tier for me until today, and they are now. At 8-2, you beat a first-place team. You go on the road against one of the best defenses in football. You score nearly 30 points. You do it without a couple of your most important offensive players. I know the Bucs are missing some people too, Tom, but to perform the way they have performed. Now, 10 games in a row, the bye's not for another few weeks. You have to consider this one of the best teams in football, and it feels like they should be, and I'm putting them there in the contender conversation.
Look around the American Football Conference, Phil, and you don't feel bad about it because the Patriots are 8-2. Buffalo's 6-3. They got blasted by Miami. So the Patriots have a 2-game lead and a head-to-head win over Buffalo. Not saying Buffalo is to be taken lightly, but they're probably not going to win the division. Probably. Not definitely, probably. Pittsburgh, handleable. They're a 5-3 team in the AFC North, leading that division. 8-2 Indianapolis. Life and death with the Falcons team. The Patriots should have dispatched like 35-7 last week. Life and death with them, the Patriots were. But Indy had to go to overtime. So at this point, I'm taking Drake Maye over Daniel Jones every day and twice on Sunday. Jacksonville, humiliation, losing late to Davis Mills and the Houston Texans. Then you got Denver, who I've been really banging the drum for because their defense is ridiculous. I got an eye full of Bo Nix on Prime Video the other night. Whoo! My eyes were burning. Chargers, I'm not really sold on them. And Kansas City lurks at 5-4, but out of the playoff race. So the Patriots are playing the best. They're playing the most complimentary football. And I'm not saying he is the best quarterback, but for the 10 games of 2025, the best quarterback in the American Football Conference has been Drake Maye in terms of statistics, importance to his team, toughness, raising the level of I might tap the brakes on raising the level because I think there are Mahomesian aspects that Drake probably hasn't even yet realized. But this game today was tremendous. And one of the best things about it, and I guess we'll start with the negative first, for the Patriots' perspective is Drake Maye throws, pardon an end zone pick. They have an opportunity to go up 24-16 and make it a touchdown and a 2-point conversion game. Instead, he extends the play, tries to force it in, says he has no second thoughts about the decision, tries to force it in, it gets picked off. First, here's Mike Vrabel on the Maye pick.
A lot of things happen quick down there, and situationally, it's important there that if we don't, come out of there with the touchdown, we have to leave there with points. We got to make it a a touchdown game. We got to be able to make it a 7-point game there. And again, we want to be aggressive. We just can't be reckless. And I think that probably borderline on a bad decision. So we'll continue to improve.
I excuse the pick, however, in a way that I didn't excuse any of the mistakes against Pittsburgh or against the Raiders, because they did not have weeks and weeks and weeks of superior play. Today's pick is a young player kind of forgetting about time, score, and game situation and trying to make a play that he didn't need to. But the best part of it was that the defense came on the field, Phil, and they shut out or down one of the best quarterbacks in 2025 in the NFL in Baker Mayfield.
They did, and it didn't look like they were going to when that drive began. I mean, it really felt like the game was turning, not only with the pick, but you've got a throw from Mayfield on a comeback, goes for a first down. Then Mayfield over the middle to Cade Otton for another first down. Then Tucker, the back for Tampa Bay, who's getting a lot of run with Bucky Irving out, runs for 18 yards and a first down. And it's like, oh boy, they're just, maybe the Patriots defense is gassed. They're just getting run through right now. But 2-minute warning, maybe that helps. They get a little bit of a breather. They stop them on 3rd and 3. There's a massive hit from Craig Woodson, maybe the play of the year from him to this point. He's been a relatively quiet player, but a massive hit that stops them short. Sorry, that was 3rd and long, and then it was for 3rd and 3. I'm sorry, I can't even read my own notes here.
Sorry,
3rd and 3, 4th and 3. They get the stop. Kayvon Chason, guy who got your game ball on our post-game show today, ends up getting the huge pressure there that makes the stop. And it is a great example of complementary football, because as May has lifted up this team time and time again this year, Tom, he needed to be picked up after a bad mistake. I would call it a mistake too. I didn't love that decision when you could have kicked a field goal and gone up 8. But the defense was there, stood firm, and they end up winning the game because of it.
And the fuller compliment would be, just to go to the special teams, recovery by Stephon Diggs on the onside kick. You're putting one of your best players out there to make a play to seal the game, because it was that important. It was unbelievably well executed onside kick. Here's another reason I give May all the latitude in the world. Not only because he has now 5 picks and 19 touchdowns on the year, which if you asked me at the beginning of the year and you said, hey, Drake Maye is going to have 19 touchdowns and 5 picks, I'd have signed up for that. I'd have figured it'd probably be at best a 7-10 team, but he's done it in 10 games. But listen to these conversions, Phil. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7, 2 fourth downs. So those were all in the first half. One of those was a touchdown. We're going to get into that deeper. Second half, 3rd and 7, and then a 3rd and 14 for 54 yards when there was a situation where you felt like Josh McDaniels was managing the second half. Look, I understand we want to still attack, but we don't want to have a 25-second possession where we go 3 and out. So we're going to run it, and we're going to put ourselves, if we don't run the ball, in 3rd and long and see what Drake can do. And the 3rd and 14 throw to Mac Hollins for 54 yards with somebody in his face. Not sure which guy it was. Might have been Vita Vea. Can't go wrong saying that it was. Just a dart downfield and really helped seal the game.
Yeah, I just look at that second half, and it was just an odd sequence, because after the Travion Henderson long touchdown run to start the half and complete the double score, the coveted double score that everybody talks about and wants every single week, they really could do very little, it felt like, for a long, long stretch of that game. And
was it the same deal last week against Atlanta? They kind of blended together.
Yeah, last week against Atlanta, they had just 3 points in the second half.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're playing the clock a little bit, but I don't think it's all that. I don't think it's all, packing it in and playing it conservative, because I think even Josh McDaniels probably realized after a while, boy, we just can't. It's like all they had in the running game today, Tom, were those massive runs from Travion Henderson. Otherwise, he was 12 carries for 23 yards. I mean, it was really tough sledding for them with that portion of their offense. And so I think even in the second half, they allowed Drake Maye to start throwing it a little bit on first down. But boy, they just could do nothing in the run game. And I do wonder, that's something that I wonder if it'll come back to haunt them at some point this season, is they've just been so inefficient running the football for most of this year. I don't know if you can I mean, they're doing it. They're proving to us that they can live this way, but it's a hard way to live is how I should put it.
The way they can live this way is because they have a fairly diverse group of receivers. They have a really good offensive coordinator who gets them out of things, I think, and then finds – it takes a while. Sometimes it takes a while for McDaniels to find what exactly he wants to attack because there's some research that is done. Like, for instance, first 13 offensive plays today were about collecting research. Then they were able to get the one target to Kyle Williams on a crosser against man, and he scores a 72-yard touchdown. So you do have to go through some, what are they doing? What are they doing? And then, boom, there's a jackpot coming out of the slot machine on a play like that. But
can I just give you a quick number? Like, I'm just looking at it right now.
Babbling.
On their first 4 first downs after the Travion Henderson run, 3 of them were passes. So, like, it wasn't just like we're just going to plow into the line and hope the clock bleeds itself dry. You know, they were understanding, I think, of the fact that they were having a hard time running the football and that Drake Maye is their best player. And maybe later in the half and in the fourth quarter in particular, you know, they started to run it a little bit more, but even some of those runs are like Drake Maye scrambles, you know, first and goal, a couple different occasions. You know, they end up running it, but it's Maye around the end. So it's just been an interesting trend these last couple of weeks when they're playing with the lead. How do they go about handling it with a run game that isn't very good, largely speaking?
And I think a lot of it is finding the players you rely on the most and understanding that some of the guys that you don't necessarily rely on every week will be available if you go to hit them, which would be Mac Hollins today. 6 catches on 10 targets for him, 106 yards. Certainly, I think, making up for Kayshon Boutte and then doing his own work. And then Stephon Diggs. He had a huge first half. He ended up with just 46 yards.
Yeah, he only the only time he touched the ball in the second half was on that onside kick return. He had one target in the passing game, didn't catch it. So he ends up with 5 catches, 46 yards in the touchdown.
Did Douglas catch the ball in the second half? Because he had 2 for 34. I think both of his were in the first half as well. Hollins was really their only target in the second half. Not a huge day for Hunter Henry either. But to me, if you look at the first half, the importance of Stephon Diggs for Drake Maye is unmistakable. He looked to him time and again, and they used him in the middle of the field, which you said was going to be a place that they could seek him.
That's one area where Tampa Bay has really struggled this year, and I thought early in the game they were able to hit them there. Now, maybe Tampa made some adjustments, Tom, and they started flooding the middle of the field with some bodies that made it a little bit harder for Drake Maye, and they dared him to beat them on the outside with Mac Hollins. You know, Mac Hollins is one of these guys, sort of a journeyman receiver. If you're an opposing defensive coordinator or you're opposing defensive player, you're probably looking at Mac Hollins and saying, we can man up on this guy and just give him one person to beat, and we'll dare Drake Maye to beat us that way. We'll have extra bodies for Diggs or Hunter Henry, guys that he relies on more consistently. But to your point on Diggs in the first half, 3 of his targets went for first downs. That includes a DPI that he was able to draw, and then he had the touchdown on 4th down. So he was the straw that stirred the drink for them.
You've played enough sports for long enough and watched enough sports for long enough that you can sense when there's a team that's playing in fear of, okay, who's going to screw up? This team seems in very rapid fashion to have flipped from that kind of team over the course of a 3-year period, really, to a team that is who's going to make a play. There's an inevitability to the fact that somebody's going to make a play. And I'm not saying it has to be, bottom of the 9th. Like, during the course of the game, somebody's going to make a play. And why does that happen? And is that sustainable?
It's got to be largely a confidence factor. When you're winning, when things are going well, everyone's feeling good about the job that they're doing with whatever role it is that they have. And so when you're playing the way the Patriots have been playing, my guess is somebody like, Caleb Von Chase, another kind of journeyman type of guy. Yep. He's been a starter for them and an impact player. He knows he's going to get his opportunities to make big plays. But even his backup, Elijah Ponder, I thought he had a massive rush late in the game on 3rd down. He beats Tristan Wirfs, of all people. It's like an all-world tackle. Works around the edge for a sack. Kyle Williams comes through with his first touchdown as a pro. these guys are.
Tonga and Milton Williams are just.
Kyrus Tonga is a great example, offensively and defensively. What a bull as a fullback. How many Bucs did he take out in just a handful of snaps? It felt like every time he's on the field, he's blocking multiple people on the same play. Poor Jared Wilson on the first play he was out there just ran him over, just probably had footprints on his back, Jared Wilson did. But he was able to, still Tonga, block their defensive end and help contribute to a positive play. So it's not the stars always. It's these other guys, and I wonder if that's just a byproduct of winning, Tom, and those guys feeling good about themselves so that when their opportunity does come about, they're able to execute.
And there's not a lot of where's mine. I think that absolutely was present last year with certainly the wide receiver group, just to use an example. Where's mine? Where are my targets? How come I'm not out there? I'm a good player. I should be out there. And I don't think there's a lot of where's mine. And I don't know if that's because Vrabel was so experienced as a head coach and has an offensive coordinator who's garnered so much respect. And Drake Maye is now not a rookie, but a second-year player who can take command. And Stephon Diggs is a new player to this team, but a fifth-round pick. I think that can't go undersold, too. He was a fifth-round pick, and he turned himself into one of the best wide receivers in football. So whether or not he had mercurial moments in Minnesota and Buffalo, he still is an unbelievably high-end competitor and worker, which you saw as he comes back from an ACL. So all of these guys are sending a message of, we don't F around, and you get what you earn here, which certainly during Bill's tenure, too, I don't think the guys always got what they earned. If Bill liked you, you were going to play. I mean, I don't think DeMario Douglas didn't earn to be on the field when he fumbled a couple of years ago and then he got exiled. Same thing with Keyshawn Boutte. Do you think Devontae Parker earned his role? Not really.
Not really.
So,
and those guys you mentioned, Boutte and Douglas, those guys are sixth-round picks.
Yeah. So I look at what happened. These guys, I think, are very much a meritocracy in a way that kind of went away, unfortunately, because there was no team that was more of a meritocracy than the New England Patriots for about 15 years.
Well, and isn't it funny that receiver room in particular was sort of emblematic of the problem last year, and now they are sort of emblematic of this solution. They are as unselfish a group as we've seen. Pop Douglas has talked about it very openly. His first couple years in the league, he was one of those guys who was wondering, when am I getting the ball? Why am I not playing more? And now this year, he's had games where he's basically disappeared, but he's been on the field and he's been working to block downfield and spring teammates for big plays. And then he bides his time and he stays on the field because he's doing all those little things. And then he's able to have the big game last week. He goes back to basically doing very little, 2 catches for 34 yards today, but it's a Mac Hollins day. And I find that, again, to be, a great example of what this room has been about, because Mac Hollins is a guy, he plays more than some of these other players, but he's essentially a lot of games a glorified tight end. Mm-hmm. He's blocking, he's running these for the love of the game types of routes where it's, Mac, you got to run a 40-yard dash down the field and just clear out the safety so that Hunter Henry can loop in and catch it for 18 yards. And today, because Keyshawn Boutte's out, he ends up with 10 targets and over 100 yards receiving. So these guys are all willing to do what it takes to be a good team and a good offense, and I find it serendipitous for them, and I find it appropriate for them to be able to get theirs every so often as a reward.
You're going to hear us talk about this again on Tuesday's Patriots Talk podcast when it pops out, what we like to call the linear version. There's the digital and the linear. We're going to talk about these
linear.
I don't know. It just comes in a straight line out of your TV right into your face.
Oh.
But that's the one that's on the TV as well.
It's violent.
But I'm going to roll through some team stats through 10 games. Okay, the Patriots lost to the Raiders. The Raiders stink. They lost to the Steelers. The Steelers, not that great. They barely beat the Dolphins. They waxed the Panthers, who aren't good. They beat the Bills. Is that a good win? They won by 6 at New Orleans. They waxed the Titans down there. They beat the hell out of the Browns. They barely edged Atlanta. And then they beat Tampa. So if you want to look at the Patriots and say they're not that really impressive, I know they're 8-2, but you guys are talking about them as Super Bowl contenders. Well, hold the phone, Charlie. Hold the phone. Because I'm going to go through some numbers right now. Team numbers that are really talking about the underlying strengths of this team. The Patriots third down percentage is 42.0, which is kind of probably middle of the pack. Better than average. Defensively, though, it's 34.3. That's real good. Fourth down, the Patriots are 12 for 15 this season. That's insane, 80%. Defensively, they've only allowed 33%. When you look at net yards rushing per game, average per game, Patriots are allowing 79.2. And the Patriots don't have a great running game, but they're getting 117.7 on the ground. Yes, there were some fat numbers today that got stacked. However, it's important to realize that that's a fact. I don't know what that means. Finally, I'm going to talk about touchdowns. Oh, I could talk about, let's talk about percentage. Drake Maye's 71.5 percentage right now, even after today being around 50%. Also, finally, touchdowns. Patriots have 32 of them. Their opponents have 22. And again, talk about, if you'd like to, the unimpressive teams they've gone against. But when you're outscoring opponents 265 to 192, and you were a team that has already reached what most of us thought they would get to in a full season in just 10 games, I don't care about the fine print when you're that good and that stifling against the teams. It's more indicative to me, Phil, of they're playing to a particular level every freaking week. And if you put a better pitcher against them on the mound, they can hit him too. Phil's looking at his phone, so we're going to filibuster and also point out.
I'm just pulling
I
up
want to
some
point
numbers.
this out too. Do
All
you
right, go ahead.
Caleb Chase has 6.5 sacks now?
It's pretty good.
That makes people money.
It sure does.
I
And
don't care if he makes money or not. I mean, I hope he does. I like the guy.
he's going to be a free agent after the year.
Yeah, he was on Irrelevant Questions, and it was a pleasure.
So is he going to be making money here, I think, is the question moving forward. But yeah, I like all those numbers that you bring up. It's all valid. I think this kind of win is validating for a Patriots team that has drawn a lot of those types of conversations. Well, who have they beaten? And I understand it, but it is such a funky week, Tom. I mean, we saw the Colts fighting for their lives against Atlanta. We saw the Jags, who had a great record just a couple of weeks ago, lose on a thick 6 at the end of that game against a Houston team that was missing its starting quarterback. The Panthers, I know they somehow lose by 10 to the Saints, who are maybe the worst team in football. But just a couple of weeks ago, they're beating the Packers that we all thought would be a pretty good team and maybe even a Super Bowl contender this year. So it's a funky league. The Bills losing to the Dolphins. I know you were being facetious when you say, you win in Buffalo. Is that even a good win?
Yeah.
It is a good win. That's a good team. But even good teams can lose to bad teams. And so the fact that the Patriots haven't done that, and the fact that they're on this run right now, beating both good and bad along the way, to me just tells you everything you need to know.
Where is the sleepwalk? I continue to wait for the sleepwalk. And yes, they start slowly and allow a touchdown. But we have not seen one of those sleepwalks. As Tony Maz said, and I used it in quick slants, they're due for an ass kicking. And they are. And they were. And there was a chance that this would be it. It was not. 2 final items. First off, the end of half game management. Drake Maye in the postgame said he was indeed trying to score. Now, we can Zapruder film that and look at whether or not he truly was. Whatever, it did not. It looked like he was half folding up like a fawn in a pasture.
He went floppy fish a little bit.
But it's so absurd to think that a team would, after coming off of 2 4-win seasons, think that being down, they were down 10-7 at the point, right?
They were down 10-7. Yes.
So, yeah, I can't imagine that a team that was down 10-7 at the half on the road was going to fool around on the doorstep to try and keep the ball away from Baker Mayfield. I would imagine they wanted to use every play to score, and they were not concerned about clock. That's why, even though Tony Romo and Jim Nantz and Tony, that's a good play. So heady, it's not heady. Get in there, ASAFP. And they eventually did score, and Drake Maye said they were trying to score.
Couldn't you see Vrabel maybe calling for that, though? He is a clock management. John Stryker, we know they're talking about all sorts of game management situations, clock management situations. It's why it's not that, coupled with that understanding of Vrabel's style, coupled with the play itself and just how it looked, trying not to be influenced by Tony Romo's, histrionics. I can conceive of a world in which they would ask him to do something like that.
I can too. And hopefully, in their new world, in their new reality, they realize that they almost pissed away 7 points, which is a horrible idea for a team on the road, unless you think the conference is wide open and you can do whatever you want. If you want to win that game and that's your priority, make sure you're getting points down there. That means using every snap. I don't care. You can forecast all you want, and I don't care how much money Mike has made as a head coach nor as a football player. There's a point at which we can all look at it. And if you're making a sideline catch that's a low percentage, low expected conversion rate, but you do it, that meant you get away with it. It's not it was a great idea. So I still believe that they could not have possibly been trying to go into the fetal position and kill clock. That was just it looked like an aborted play. Because I can't believe that they would do that. Because if you're a team that's trying to establish itself still and you're on the road and you decide to do that, that to me is very short-sighted and has a whiff of arrogance. And I don't think that this team, McDaniels, Vrabel, are at a point where they would outsmart themselves.
The post-game stuff was interesting because I do, listen, there's no reason for us not to take Drake Maye at face value. So when he tells us he was trying to score, I would tend to believe him.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't Vrabel just say, he was asked multiple questions about it. Why not just say, yeah, those sneaks, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Vita Vea's, a 350-pound guy with the athleticism of a 185-pound running back, and he just blew us up on that one, and thank God we scored at the end. Why not just say that?
Maybe
because he just chose not to answer it.
Because I think that Mike, as we go along over the next 7 to 14 years before he retires, never going to get fired. Mike, you're never going to get fired. But we'll realize that there's going to be points at which he says, I'm not telling you because I just don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it. How's that?
Fair.
So that's my guess. I cannot imagine they were trying to run a kneel down.
Well, like a
I don't
kneel
care.
down with lost yardage.
Whatever.
It,
looks like a friggin' kneel down.
A rush for 0.
That's a kneel down. They were not trying to score. I can't imagine they were not trying to score. So the fact that play looked like that is just user error. They were trying to score. That was not a called aborted play. I can't imagine. And if it was, I am very, very, very surprised.
Maybe it was in the back of Travion Henderson's mind when he was running for that second touchdown. He's looking over to the sideline. Is this another one of those times they don't want us to score?
Too much clock management. Holy crap. Too much clock management. Stretch, excuse me.
Yeah, no, Striker's his last name.
Well, Stryker is also the guy from Airplane.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Remember Stryker?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Stryker, you're out of control. Can the Red Sox... The Red Sox. I haven't enjoyed them since about 2008.
Can they sign Pete Alonso?
I
didn't see that coming. Can
the Patriots get ready for the Jets? I'm tired.
Oh man. Yeah, they've got time for the Jets. It's the Jets. They basically punted on the season. I know they played well. They just won.
Donkey.
27-20 against the Cleveland Browns. Those are two teams that just ain't trying to win. So somebody had to, I guess. I think the Jets will provide a test in some ways. I'm just not sure what those ways are right now.
Could that be the sleepwalk, Phil? I mean, you just won in Tampa.
Sure.
You got 4 days later. My birthday was today. There could be a hangover from that.
Happy birthday, TC!
Happy birthday, Nose!
Woo!
Yay, Nose!
We're going to eat some more birthday cookies after this.
Should I tell everybody what happened at my birthday event last night?
I don't even know what happened at your birthday event last night. We've been so busy talking football.
Oh, yeah. Well, the plan was to go see Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Oh, I did hear this.
And had a nice day. We stayed at the Renaissance Seaport, Erica and I, and then we decided we were going to we decided months ago, bought tickets for Steve Martin and Martin Short. And this is where technology and digital innovation got me. Everything I got from Ticketmaster, I just say, okay, well, you'll tell me when the show is. I don't need to look at that. I don't need to look at that. I don't need to look at that. Then when I downloaded my tickets, I just simply hit the download stuff, Ticketmaster, and looked to make sure that there was a barcode, and I'm good to go. A couple days ago, Erica had mentioned, do you know there's 2 shows, the 3 o'clock show and the 8 o'clock show? I said, wow. She goes, yeah, I think they're both sold out. I said, oh, well, okay. Be that as it may. So we went to the Snowport in the afternoon. We had a nice time, took a nice nap. Then we heading over to the Wang. I said Wang, and we're heading over, and We're on time. We get to the head of the line. I get my phone out.
Looking good.
Because
Feeling fresh.
sweaty palms. Because I feel like going through those lines is like TSA. People are like, don't stop. Don't stop. So I'm like, they don't want me to stop as I go through the security thing. Get to the top of the line. Everybody's getting hustled over to their balcony seats. And the guy scans mine. And then he goes, scans it again. He goes, what time did you think your show was? And that's when my heart dropped. I said, no. No, these are tickets for the 3 o'clock show, sir. And then, the sweat just bang, all the beads on your forehead, your hand. My wife's behind me, like looking over my shoulder going, we going in? I can't wait to go in. I love these guys from Only Murders in the Building. And I'm saying to the guy, because there's a million people behind us, can I just step in so I can do a U-turn? Because I don't want to hold up the TSA line here. He's like, you can't go in. You can't go in. I'm like, I'm going in. Go in. I duck under a thing. I go back out, and poor Erica feels worse for me because my birthday than she does about missing the show, which she wanted to see.
Of course.
And I was like, let's get out of here. She stops at the box office. Do you have any tickets? Let's get out of here. So
Excuse me, sir. Are you on Hawaii time right now?
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. That's Tom Curran. Why is he leaving? He had the wrong show. Idiot.
No, he must have got VIP ticket. He probably just saw those guys backstage. Those guys, they get all the breaks.
So I don't know.
Well, it sounds like you still had a nice time in the city with your wonderful wife.
Yeah.
You missed a show. And you'll be able to see those guys another time.
Yeah, no, Steve Martin's 81
Couple
next
of
year.
fried chickens.
All right. Yeah, we'll be back.
Well, happy
at
birthday.
You.
Happy birthday. I hope you had a good day. I hope you had a good weekend.
It was great.
We love you. You're the best.
All right, you're the
Happy
best.
birthday.
Phil got me cookies too. Thanks. And thank you to Exodus Bagels in Roslindale. They fed us again. Unbelievable spread. They had bagel pizzas today.
So good. Ooh. I had the pepperoni.
Yeah.
What flavor did you go with?
I went with the sausage and jalapeno.
Oh, good for you. Adventurous.
Yep.
Boy,
Had a bite.
Braver than me.
Had a bite.
They look delicious.
Yep. And I had the roast beef with the bacon cheddar cream cheese.
I had a little lox today. I haven't done the lox yet. Exodus Bagels. Boy, they take care of us. They do a tremendous job.
So thanks
check
to them. Check them out. They're over in Roslindale. They are expanding, so make sure to check them out as well in Roslindale. Thanks, folks. Bye.